chief Washington correspondent for The New Yorker. Her new article is about the criminal investigation into Donald Trump's financial business practices. The investigation is being led by Cyrus Vance Jr., the Manhattan DA, who recently announced he'll retire at the end of this year. Mayer's article is in the March 22nd issue of The New Yorker. It's also on the magazine's website under the title, Can Cyrus Vance Jr. Nail Trump? Deutsche Bank was Trump's biggest lender. And to what extent is Deutsche Bank cooperating with the investigation and talking about the loans that they made to Trump and whatever they know about Trump's finances?
Deutsche Bank is fully cooperating, it sounds like, and so is the insurance company Aon that Trump dealt with. So you have the sense that Trump is surrounded by organizations that he has done business with who are turning against him. The feeling is that that things are closing in on him.
So as you point out, Trump has survived 2 impeachments, the investigation by special counsel Robert Mueller, 6 bankruptcies, 26 accusations of sexual misconduct, and an estimated 4,000 lawsuits. And, he served as president for 4 years. These investigations, these accusations did not stand in the way of his becoming president. Of course, some of them happened after he was president. That didn't stop him from continuing to be president. Is there a chance that he'll actually lose this one? Because this would be big. Like we said, this would be, if he loses, he would be the first former American president to be convicted of criminal charges.
Oh, I think there's absolutely a chance that he could face serious charges and be convicted. I mean, this is no joke. This is, as Michael Cohen says, this is the investigation that keeps him up at night. At the same time, I think it has to be said, as you point out, he has been terrifically, you could say, either lucky or wily or, choose your adjective. He has gotten away with everything he's gotten away with great skill. There's a quote in this story from Preet Bharara, the former U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, who says, this case is not a slam dunk. It's not an easy case, and nobody should think that it is. And part of the reason that it's hard is the way that Trump has always behaved. His mentor on legal issues early on was Roy Cohen, who was sort of a notorious fixer and later in life a lawyer to the mob characters in New York. And Roy Cohen taught Trump, leave no fingerprints. And Trump really doesn't. It's interesting. He doesn't use email, which is often how prosecutors get people. He doesn't have a private email address even. When he texts people, he asks his assistants to text them from their phones. He doesn't have a computer that he keeps on his desk. He writes very little down. And when he issues orders, he often does it very indirectly. And I interviewed a number of people who described how what he wants, but he doesn't say it outright. And so he's very, very good at protecting himself.
Who are some of the people on Vance's team, and what does that tell you about the legal strategy?
The biggest change that's taken place on Vance's team is he has brought in a man named Mark Pomerantz, who is a really highly regarded and seasoned lawyer in New York. He swore him in as a special assistant district attorney a little more than a month ago. And Pomerantz had been the head of the criminal division prosecuting crimes for the Southern District of New York and the federal prosecutors. And since then, he has also been, for about 20 years, one of the top defense lawyers for white-collar crime in New York. And as such, he's just seen as someone who's just a real pro. He has a terrific reputation, and he has apparently taken up a notch the investigation into Trump. He's got a really good idea how to go after this whole thing, and people say they can feel the difference. It's like night and day.
Why would you hire somebody who defended white-collar crime to help prosecute white-collar crime?
good question, but apparently what the answer is that he understands all the holes through which a potential white-collar criminal might escape. He knows how to close the hatches, and so he's just very good at seeing it from both directions, from the prosecutor and from the defense side. And so, people think that he's going to stay on even after Vance leaves and provide some continuity to the office and to the investigation, no matter who comes on to replace Vance, too.
I think we need to take a short break here, so let me reintroduce you. If you're just joining us, my guest is Jane Mayer, Chief Washington Correspondent for The New Yorker. Her new article is about the Manhattan DA's criminal investigation into Donald Trump's financial business practices. We'll be right back.